Born Milton Teagle Simmons on July 12, 1948, Richard Simmons began his weight loss career when he established a gym in Beverly Hills in the 1970s. In time, he became widely known throughout the U.S. for his television infomercials, in which he promoted a number of popular consumer products and fitness programs. Given his over-the-top persona, Simmons became a frequent target of parody and satire, and was often invited to be a guest on late-night TV and radio talk shows like The Howard Stern Show and The Late Show with David Letterman. In recent years, however, Simmons appears to have dropped out of the public eye. His last public appearance was in February 2014, and by 2016, concerned fans began to speculate about his well-being and health. Both Simmons and his publicist have issued statements saying that such concerns are unwarranted and that he's merely chosen to be less visible intentionally to focus on his personal life. Join Facts First as we attempt to get to the bottom of this matter by discussing the tragic birth defect that sent Richard Simmons into hiding. Whatever happened to Richard Simmons? The health and fitness guru first took an active interest in healthy living not long after moving to LA in the 70s while he was working as a maitre d' at the popular Derek's restaurant. He went from being morbidly obese to losing 123 pounds, but in the process, he discovered that many established gyms at the time seemed to primarily cater to those who were already physically fit, as opposed to those looking to break unhealthy habits. That realization is what inspired him to establish his own exercise studio, which he dubbed the Anatomy Asylum. Eventually, he named it Slimmons. The asylum's aim was to make fitness fun while trying to reinforce a positive culture that would focus on promoting healthy eating habits and engaging with members' exercise routines. Simmons' enthusiasm and signature flamboyant cheerfulness played a role in transforming his humble gym into the massive fitness empire it became. Many consider Simmons a major game changer in the fitness world, and given his iconic public reputation, it's safe to say he's one of the best-known fitness moguls in the world. Richard went on to appear in dozens of TV talk shows and fitness programs, and even landed a few roles in fictional films and TV shows as well. For instance, he enjoyed a 4-year run on General Hospital, in which he played his effervescently bubbly, fitness-loving self. In the early 80s, he was even awarded an Emmy for hosting his own talk show, The Richard Simmons Show, as well as a food program called Slim Cookin'. He also appeared in dozens of commercials for brands like Herbal Essences, SportsCenter, and YoPlay. For SportsCenter, ESPN hired him as a conditioning coach in 2007. He hosted a program on Sirius satellite radio called Lighten Up with Richard Simmons, which aired from 2006 to 2008. For decades, it seems like the guy was everywhere. He would pop up in the public eye virtually anywhere you looked, as a beacon of happiness and a friendly reminder that watching your weight and living a healthy lifestyle didn't have to be something dreadful. So what happened? We haven't seen Richard in a while now. For 42 years, he led a fitness empire that was thriving and bringing in income, but it's now like he dropped off the face of the earth. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Ahead of his time. Too often, people think of physical fitness and weight loss with a bleak outlook, but Simmons taught us you could laugh, smile, and really enjoy yourself while working up a sweat. Before it was even in vogue, Simmons presented to the world a doctrine of body positivity that was well before its time. He showed us we didn't have to look like super thin supermodels, nor did we have to starve ourselves. He expressed to all willing to listen that bodies are beautiful and there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to wellness. After closing down his studio and retreating from the public eye, Simmons gave an audio interview with The Today Show in 2016, in which he denied rumors that he was in failing health. Not satisfied with his statement, in 2017 a podcast called Missing Richard Simmons was launched that aimed to investigate why he seemingly went into hiding. In March of 2017, LAPD detectives conducted a wellness check on Simmons at his LA area home. They issued a statement saying Simmons appeared to be doing perfectly fine. A month later, he was hospitalized for severe indigestion. He then made his first public statement in over a year, posting on Facebook a photograph of himself, accompanied with the message, "I'm not missing, just a little under the weather." That post did little in the way of easing public worries for his well-being, owing to the fact that the image used was taken in 2013. It was further speculated that it wasn't even Simmons who made the post. The following year, in June of 2018, Simmons sued an LA private investigator who he claimed had placed a tracking device illegally on his personal vehicle. If it was true, which it appeared to be, the act of placing it would be in blatant violation of California law. In July of that year, he amended the suit, saying the private eye had been hired by the gossip rag In Touch Weekly. With that amendment, prosecutors filed a criminal complaint as well. In May of 2020, a California appellate court upheld a previously arrived upon judicial decision that allowed Simmons' suit to continue to move forward. Richard Simmons' secret birth defect. While nothing can be said for sure, given the fact that Simmons remains vigilant about protecting his privacy, a new documentary called TMZ Investigates What Really Happened to Richard Simmons, which can be streamed on Hulu and Fox, claims Simmons has been holed up in his home in Hollywood Hills due to a painful and debilitating genetic ailment that he's been wrestling with since birth. The documentary asserts Simmons has been keeping his battle with this mysterious disease a secret from his fans. Fabian Garcia, the managing director for TMZ, is quoted in the doc saying something that happened to Simmons at birth is directly related to his public disappearance. Garcia further claims the condition is a birth defect that has significantly affected one of Simmons' legs. Adding more detail, Garcia insists the disorder has to do with Simmons being born without a full set of bones in his foot and that this has caused him a great deal of physical and emotional problems throughout his life. The documentary's producer claims in the film that Richard turned to food to cope with his condition and that this led him to gain a significant amount of weight. And because of this, the weight gain has put a lot of stress on Richard's knees. Not surprising for an outlet that routinely publishes sensational, albeit often dubious, reports about celebs, the documentary attempts to make the point that this condition is what spearheaded Simmons' rise to pop culture fame before eventually leading to his downfall into a world of loneliness and despair. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Richard Simmons dropped out of the spotlight due to some life-upending health problem, or do you think he merely wanted to get away? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined FactsVerse as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of FactsVerse, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from FactsVerse or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.